Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 128. We are in Seattle, Washington, and morning 9:45 in the morning right now. We were supposed to arrive in the city around 12:30 a.m., but we had a delay in the flight, didn't get in till about 5 after 1, and then the luggage was delayed about 40 minutes. We finally got to the hotel around 2:30 and had the fastest check-in that I've ever had. They just said, "Let me see your ID. Okay, here's your key." And the key was already ready to go. We stayed at the Paramount Hotel downtown. So, in case you wanted to know, 724 Pine Street in Seattle. A very nice hotel, very clean. Got a king room for like it was like $197 plus tax, $221. I noticed at the same place going through a company like Priceline or Expedia or one of those had like $80 in fees on there between taxes and fees. So it was actually cheaper to book it directly. The trip was a little unusual. We left home just a regular flight. We got to Las Vegas, and I did play some slots in Las Vegas, and I ended up ahead $107. My wife went to our gate that we were supposed to leave out of, and I went to the different areas, A, B, C, all those different areas, and looked at slot machines. Finally played only a couple machines, and like I said, ended up ahead $107. When we got to Seattle, it was just a huge mess. I gotta say, from what I saw, it's a pretty ugly airport. There's like pillars every 5 feet. I don't understand why that would be. And then I saw the new McDonald's workers here. You know, they raised the minimum wage here repeatedly. And the new McDonald's workers are about 10 kiosks that you use to buy stuff. They don't call in late. They don't call in sick. They don't steal from you. So that's the new trend. You keep raising minimum wage and see what happens. Then looking out the window here at the hotel, I'm seeing graffiti all over the downtown buildings. So that's a treat. But we were supposed to check into the boat around 2:30 this afternoon. I noticed that she and I had different check-in times. Mine was 12:30 and hers was 2:30. So we're going to go check in at 12:30 for both of us. So with that being said, it's 9:45 in the morning. We're getting dressed and ready to go. We're going to take an Uber over to that area, which is Pier 66, and then probably find something to eat there and then hop on. Uber was super expensive from the airport to here. It was like $60, which I thought was a little bit over the top considering it wasn't that far. But from here to the pier is only about $20, actually $15, which tells me that there may only have been a few Uber workers working last night, and it was expensive because of that. The less workers are available, the higher the price goes with Uber. So anyway, this morning it is about 60 degrees outside, nice sky, partly cloudy, so the sun is out, and we're going to get going here real soon. So first order of business, getting our showers, getting out the door, and getting an Uber down to that area, and then we'll look for breakfast and some shopping before we get on the boat. So that's all for now. I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. It is 11:57 p.m. on the first day of the cruise, and just want to tell you a little bit about what happened today. I'm not going to make it too long because this is going to end up being a week long, so I don't want to go on for hours and hours, but we did have a decent breakfast in Seattle. It was a place right down the street from the hotel. It was only like a block away. It was called Tidal Seafood. Tidal, Tidal Seafood. My wife had this was breakfast now. She had a mocha and blueberry pancakes. We got a little order of thick cut bacon and I got fish and chips and was very, very good. I was very surprised. The waiter was this like Filipino little tiny guy with perfect nails and little tiny rings and all that kind of stuff. The short hair, you can imagine the guy. And he was very, very nice though. I mean, I've got no problem. People are nice to me, I'm nice to them, so I don't have any issue with what they choose to do with their life. But anyway, so that was really good. Finished up there, went back to the hotel and got our stuff, and went to order an Uber, and it gave me a choice of getting a taxi for like a third of the price of the Uber. And I'm like, what was the point of having Uber if, oh, by the way, the place was all cashless, and while we were sitting there, you wouldn't have believed the people that walked by, but that's neither here nor there, that's fine. Anyway, I go to order this Uber, and it's like $20-something to go 7 or 8 blocks down the street, or you could use a cab, like a taxi, and it's like $7. So decided to do the taxi, but it took like 10 minutes. It was looking for one, and they couldn't find one, so I ended up settling for the Uber. Took the Uber down, and with Norwegian, you have like a certain set time that you set up in advance, so that the line is not incredibly long. So the check-in time goes by half hours, so everybody has a set time that they're supposed to come in, and it keeps the line flowing. Well, we showed up about 10 minutes early to our time, and there was, I don't know, 500-600 people ahead of us, so that didn't work out too well, but they had things pretty fine-tuned, so I can't really complain, and they ended up getting us through pretty quickly. Only took about 20 minutes to get through that huge line, and basically it's all facial recognition stuff, just like they're starting to do at the airports right now with passports and even regular domestic flights. Just pretty scary, but my facial recognition didn't work for some reason, and so she said, well, what's your room number? And I gave her the room number, and she's like, okay, go ahead. And it's like, you know, you're doing this. I didn't have to give her the passport or anything, and I'm like, I can't believe I just got through here without any other stuff. But it ended up, once we got past that portion, they did ask for a passport. We went through, everything worked out really well, so no issues at all. I can't complain about any of that stuff. We got on the ship, and one thing to remember when you're getting on early is you're not going to be able to get to your room till about 3 o'clock. So if you can't get to your room till 3 o'clock and you get on at 10 a.m., it's probably not good, because you're going to be sitting around for 5 hours and you can't do anything but go to the buffet, basically, so, or some of the other restaurants. So we get on, we go to the buffet. I just get like a burger and some juice, some like lemonade. Tap water is free, but if you want soda or bottled water, it's like a huge deal. It's like $129 per person to get soda, and you can't do one person for some reason. I thought you could last time, even though we didn't, but they're saying that both of us would have to. We decided not to do that, of course. They had given us a free internet package, but we didn't want that because we're going to be in Alaska and Canada the whole time, so why do we need that? So we decided we're not going to use the package. Even if we're out of range, we're just going to use our regular internet when we're in range. And we checked with some people on Facebook that my wife's connected with, and no matter where we're stopping, there is cellular service and internet available, so we're just going to use that, so no problem there. So I had a good day, and then we ended up going to this, I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but there's only a couple pay restaurants. Everything else is included, but she wanted to go to this one, and this was supposed to be some kind of like international place. They had sushi and, pad thai and all these other things, and it wasn't very good, honestly. I was really disappointed. she was disappointed too because the food wasn't that great. And that's really the first time that on Norwegian we haven't had a good meal. But anyway, let me see, what else did we do? They do have these like small pub places where you could go and get food anytime. You can get, whatever, wings, salads, burgers, like this pretzel thing with these dips as an appetizer, apple pie. Oh my gosh, the best apple pie you would ever imagine. It's like a 50-layer apple pie, thinly spliced apples between layers. It was so good that I would definitely recommend that. But let's get to the point of all this, which is gambling. I asked when the machines would open up because I went around and I counted 18 machines that were beatable, and I went out to the casino desk there. I asked when the machines would be open. They said the casino would open at 9. We were in the middle of something at that time. I went over there. It wasn't open. Came back about 10 after. It wasn't open. It was about 9:15 or 9:20 when it finally opened. By that time, me and my wife were walking around together. We sat down, found a couple machines, played them through, and within 10 minutes at the most, we ended up walking away ahead $884. So what a great start. My taxes and fees for this trip were only like $1,100 total, and there's going to be some tips, but we've already paid for the whole trip. I mean, I guess we still have to pay the tips, but and then I went back and I got another $14. She went to sleep, and I said I was going to take one more lap, got another $14. So about $900 here and $100 at Harry Reid Airport. So that's $1,000 of our $1,100 for the cruise. And now all we have to do is worry about making enough money to cover the tips that will automatically be added to our bill. And I am going to try something I've never tried before, which is to get some advances. So it's after midnight now, but tomorrow morning I'm going to talk to the people at the desk and say, hey, I need some money. Can I get it off my credit card? And they're going to say, yes, you can charge it to your, to your room. And then you'll be able to actually gamble, and it'll be charged to your room. So that's a good thing, because they treat it as a purchase on your credit card. And if they treat it as a purchase, then you're getting points. So the point is going to be to try to get my bill as high as possible. Maybe like charge $5,000 a day on my bill, and then just use my Chase Rewards card to go to the desk and pay it off every day for $5,000. So hopefully I can do that for 5 or 6 days and get 30,000 points, which is like $300 or almost $400 for travel, for doing nothing, So, and you really can't beat it. It's just, all I'm doing is taking money from one desk and give it to another desk on the boat, and I'm getting points. So anyway, that's all right now. Like I said, it's a little bit after midnight, and I'm gonna walk around for a minute here and then head back to the room, and we'll get some sleep, and then tomorrow we'll talk some more. Tomorrow is an all travel day, so the casino should be open most of the day tomorrow. Anytime we're outside of the mainland by 10 miles or more, it's international waters. So international waters, you can gamble. Now, can you hear the background noise here? What you're hearing is the engine of the ship and the water outside. It is so quiet. I mean, it's unbelievable how quiet it is. So far, it's been a great trip. Though, I haven't really felt that many waves. If you really lay still, you can kind of feel it a little bit, but overall, just a very comfortable trip, and so far a good experience. So that's what's going on right now. End of day one, which is Sunday, and I'll be back to update you on what happens on Monday. Alright guys, I am back. So this will be the first recording where I am forced to use my phone's recorder instead of the app, since I never found another way to do things. So it's going to be a pain, but what are you going to do? So right now it is about 7:45 a.m. Got up early, and actually not too early, 7 a.m., and came down to look around to see what I could find. I found two machines that had plays on them, and they were actually next to each other, so I played both of those at the same time, and I really didn't find anything else, but they definitely took me for a ride, got some points. I think it's 1 point for every $5 on the boat here. I think I got my wife like, I have to check, but like 1,700 points last night. So that's definitely going to help her. I mean, the goal would be to put as much as possible on her card so that in the future she can get a free cruise. Use that with my free cruise from a casino, since I can't use two different casino offers at once. And that way we can get two rooms, bring the kids on board, and pay a minimal amount. So that's going to be the goal. But overall, ended up doing okay. Morning. And ended up finishing my session ahead, $159. So plus $159. I'm actually going to walk outside here and see what it looks like. From what I understand last night, it's a little chilly, about 40 something. I'm wearing shorts. Sunset was like 10:50 last night, and sunrise was 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I think 5 o'clock in the morning. So days are definitely getting shorter, and we're not even halfway up to where we're going to go. So it's nice. It's nice outside. The water is not a lot of waves. It's pretty calm, and really, temperature's really not that bad either, considering where you are. So anyway, I'm going to let you go and figure out how to add this to my recording from yesterday, and I'll be back to update you when I can. All right, guys, I am back. So I have no idea where I ended on the last segment, so I'll pick up the best that I can. Let me think here. I think, okay, so this morning, let's see. I know yesterday I had a bunch of wins and losses. I mentioned those. Today is what, Tuesday? It's Tuesday. So this morning I had a $123 slot win, $107 slot win, and then a $187 slot loss, and an $18 slot win. That's not the important part. The reason I went through that quickly is because that's not the action part. The action part is I actually played some blackjack, and I was the plan was to spread from 100 to 1,000 and see how much they would tolerate, but I wasn't really sure how far I would get. So I bought in for 500, and negative counts all the way through on the first shoe. Flat bet the whole shoe, never raised to 150 or 200 or anything, nothing at all, just 100 the whole way through. Ended that shoe down about 1,200. Moved on to the next shoe, and that one, horrible shoe. The first half was just horrible, also negative counts, couldn't do anything. And then about halfway through that shoe, now every time I'm rebuying, they're calling upstairs and telling them my name and how much I bought in for and all this stuff, every little move that I make. So then eventually the count starts going up, and the manager of the casino comes over to talk to me. And he's sitting here in Juneau. We're just pulling up to Juneau. There's airplanes landing in the water here with the little floaty skis on them. Pretty cool. But anyway, casino manager comes up, and he says, we're going to be closing the casino in about 20 to 30 minutes. And I'm like, oh man, at that point I'm down like 2,000 or 2,500, something like that. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll do whatever I can to get back to even before that happens. And the count starts going up. I start raising my bet. and I get to the point where we're down to our last couple hands. I put out $1,000 bet because I'm trying to get it back. The count's a true 6.5. And I actually bet the side bet for the first time, which probably wasn't the smartest thing, which was the King's Bounty, because we were right around 6.5. And I end up pushing that hand, I think. And then I end up going all in on the next hand because I'm positive it's the last hand, which was a $1,900 hand. And I end up getting, and I'll post this later, end up getting a 7 and a 4. And the dealer has a face card. And at this point, I got, almost a 7 true count. And I said, okay, I'm going to double it. But I didn't have enough I did have, but I didn't want to go get money from the room. So I ended up doubling down for less, for $1,200 more. And I end up getting a 7. So now I'm really concerned because I have an 18 against a face card with like a 7 true count almost, and the dealer ends up flipping over a 7, and I'm like, oh, thank God. I ended up winning that hand, which was a $5,800 swing on that hand between winning and losing, and I ended up getting up because that was the last hand of the shoe, and I finished that session ahead $1,100. So plus $1,100 on that session, plus the other stuff that I mentioned. So what's going on here? Let me think here. I did play another blackjack tournament and ended up losing that one at the last second as well. And another heartbreaker against a kid who's never played blackjack before. And he was hitting 14s against a 4 and doing everything wrong and just got totally rewarded for it. Betting, his whole stack, getting a 16 and staying against an ace, hitting 14s and 15s against a 5. But he ended up winning it, so good for him. He was playing, and his dad and his grandfather, all of them were on my table, and he's the one who ended up winning that one. So that's another $35 lost on that tournament. But I'm still in the slot tournament, and they're halfway through right now on the qualifying rounds. Top 6 people go to the finals, and I'm still in second place on that. So that's all good. Today we are going to be in Juneau. We're going to be whale watching. So we're going to take like a 2.5 or so hour boat ride. We're going to be in the city for an hour or two, do the boat ride, see the whales and everything, and then go back and look in the city again. Maybe get something to eat, maybe do some shopping. I'm not really sure what we're going to do, but the landscape here is just spectacular. I'm going to try to publish this while I'm in range so you guys have something to listen to at least, but everything's been good on the ship. For the most part, the food's been good. The service has been good. The weather's been spectacular. Right now it's 63 degrees. I believe I just saw it flash by on the TV, so I can't complain about any of that stuff. So enjoying time with the wife, and just happy to get a little bit of a break. Here is next sunset, 10:07 p.m., next sunrise, 3:48 a.m. So, wow, that's crazy, isn't it? Less than 5 hours, or 5 hours of a little over 5 hours of darkness. But yeah, I can't complain. But it's you miss the kids, but it's nice to get away. So right now I'm going to let you go. I'll probably wrap up the rest of this day and then publish it, and then we'll do the rest of the trip in another episode. So letting you go right now, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, guys, it is Monday. It's actually Monday, 9 p.m. Alaska time, Pacific time for now. We're actually going to be moving back another hour earlier, so it's going to be between Pacific and Hawaii time. I don't even know what that's called, and I don't have internet to look it up right now. So anyway, I woke up this morning early, got downstairs and started looking around for some possible plays, and I found some, I ended up ahead like $159. I may have already mentioned that. And then I had a bunch of other sessions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other sessions today. And you know, I probably should have added all of it up. Looks like about $373 maybe, $363. Now I'm ahead on that stuff. I had a couple of bad hits. Lost some money on some things, like 187 on one of them and 88 on another. But other than that, it's been a pretty decent day. Let me think here. This morning I played in a slot tournament, and actually now that I know all the information about it, I don't think I would have played in it. I'm not really positive of the exact structure, so that's part of the problem. But basically it's $35, and then the winner of that round goes on if they are in the top 6 overall. So I didn't fully understand that. So what that means is there are 10 people in a round, and if you are the winner of your round and your score is high enough, they will write down your score, and then at the end of like the second to last day, the top 6 will play for $500. So not a great deal, actually, and I wouldn't do that again, I don't think. But I did end up first place in my group. My score was like 110,000, and that puts me like first or second overall for the trip. And I think there's 3 more sessions before they take the top 6, you know, to play for the win. So that was cool. And then I also played in a poker tournament, and the poker tournament was kind of interesting. I'm sorry, not poker, blackjack tournament. There's actually a poker game starting, so I had poker on my mind, but it's a blackjack tournament. And that worked. It was basically 7 rounds, so you got to play 7 times. And they used a die to roll to figure out who the first player was going to be to play. And it ended up being the guy to my left, which was perfect because 7 rounds means he's going to be the first to bet in the first round and the first to bet in the last round. So I would be the last one to bet in the last round, which is the ideal situation. So I took charge, did all that I'm supposed to do. You're supposed to bet big. But the first hand, everyone bet huge. So I bet minimal, and they all got wiped out. Second hand, they all bet minimal, so I bet huge. And I ended up pushing. And then whatever happened in between, we get to hand number 6, and I'm in the lead. And I go all in for my full stack. And I get a 20. Dealer gets an ace, turns over a blackjack. I'm like, damn, you know, if I had won that, if I had a blackjack or just a 20 in one, I would have been unreachable. There's no way anyone could have beat me. With this tournament, you could bet any amount, any hand, but I would have been more than quadruple second place, and I would have been unreachable. So anyway, so I lost that. So I won the one tournament was $35, and I lost the other tournament, which was $35. Overall, had a good day, met a lot of people. It's been good. Right now I'm outside. I don't know how much you can hear in the background, but it's very peaceful, very quiet. Nice temperature, probably low 50s. Still wearing shorts, short sleeve t-shirt, and just enjoying everything. Norwegian Cruise Line has food available anytime you want. You don't have to have a reservation. There are some restaurants that you have to pay extra for, and with those, sometimes you need a reservation, not always. But overall, you can just walk into any restaurant, get what you want, eat it, and leave. No tip, no bill, no nothing like that. So we've enjoyed that a lot. Even if we just wanted a lemonade or an apple pie or something, we just walked in, sat down, ate it, and left, and it's been really convenient. And we did see part of one show. It was a comedy show. Didn't enjoy it very much, but and then tonight we're going to some kind of show. I don't know if it's Beatles show or something like that, so we'll see how that is. That'll be at 10 o'clock. Let me think, what else is going on here? Really, I only ate at the buffet one time. That was when we first got here. I just had a burger, and that was it. Other than that, there's been so many good places to eat. I haven't needed the buffet. Let me see. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a train ride. It's going to be about a 7-hour day. We're going to be dropped off, I think Juneau, and we're going to be doing the train ride. And I think we take a bus up and a train back, and something like that, or a train up and a bus back, something like that. So that's going to be interesting. I should be in range for internet here pretty soon, and then for the rest of the trip should have internet. As of right now, the first 2 days were just going north, so we were kind of far away from land, and I didn't want to use their internet, although I did sign on to it for a minute or two, and that was it, because I had 150 minutes I could use, but I didn't want to mess with it and go over by mistake or anything. So we'll be able to call the family and stuff tomorrow and just have a really good day. We've been relaxing, low stress, no work to worry about, no kids to worry about, and it's been really, really helpful. And I slept like a rock last night. Got about 7 or 8 hours sleep, hardly moved, and it was much needed. So that's what's going on right now. There is a 2-5 no limit poker game starting. I don't know how long it's going to last, but since we have a show coming up in less than an hour, I didn't want to sit down at that, but I may do that. But I think overall I'm ahead like 1,500. So we're in good shape. We'll see where it goes from here. So I miss doing all the stuff I normally do, but it's nice to relax and finally get a little bit of peace and not have to worry about driving, 500-600 miles in a day and worry about doing work and meetings, and kids have games and practices and all that. So it's been nice and relaxing. So I'm going to let you go right now. I'm not sure if I'll do anything else tonight. Today is Monday, day 2 of our trip, and I'll be back to update you later. Alright guys, I am back. It is now 11:30 p.m. and of course a lot has happened. We are actually moving on to the next city, and just wanted to go over a few things that happened today with you. I just played a session of slots after we got back on the boat. Made $11, so nothing spectacular. And I believe before I let you go in the last recording, I explained about the big blackjack hand and slots and all that kind of stuff. So all that's already been talked about. But how did it go today? Trying to think back here. We got off the boat in the afternoon, like 2:30 in the afternoon, and our excursion started at 4, so we had a little bit of extra time. My wife had gotten jackets for us in case we needed them, and I was carrying mine around, and I just didn't want to have it, so I ended up getting back on the boat and going to the room and dropping it off and then leaving again. Just to kind of explain how things work when you disembark and embark. When you leave the boat, they scan your card. You have a Norwegian Cruise Line card that they scan. Anything that you do, you use that card. When you go to a show, when you go to eat, anything that you do, they scan that card and keep track of everything you're doing. And so they scan it when you leave, and then when you come back on, you go through metal detectors and things like that, and they scan it again when you get back on. So not a big deal. Security, all that kind of stuff. Especially if you're going to be in a foreign country, they want to make sure that the same person that left is the same person that got back on again. So no issue there. So we get off, and we end up waiting around for a little while for our excursion, and we had a good driver that drove us to the location where our trip was going to start, and her nickname was Gravy. And she explained later on why her nickname was Gravy, and she said that she used to live in Tennessee before she moved to Alaska, and she won a contest, kind of like a mud wrestling contest, but it was gravy wrestling. let that sink in for a second in your brain. So her name was Gravy. She told us jokes on the way to and from. It was nice. It was funny. And so we get to the boat that we're going to be on. We load up. Very little issues at all. I mean, because we gave them our ticket before we got on the bus, we immediately got on the boat when we got off the bus and took off. It was a matter of 10 minutes or so. There were about 60 of us on the boat, and the excursion was basically to see whales, orcas, stuff like that. So we get on and we have kind of a long journey, like 45 minutes to get to where we're going to be, and we start seeing humpback whales, and more and more and more. We saw probably 5 or 6 different humpback whales, and it was just beautiful, amazing. It was something. And they're so smart, and they'll actually mess with you and come up to the boat and, you know, do all kinds of stuff and kind of show off a little bit. Pretty neat. And we also saw orcas, which I guess they don't see very often, but we did on our trip. So we saw orcas as well. In one section, there was like one area, there was 4 of them playing, and I did post some stuff on YouTube. And then also we saw bald eagle. We saw tons of bald eagles. One of them was actually flying around the boat, which was kind of neat. We got a lot of good views of that. And what was the other thing? Sea lions. Well, like a sea lion. I think it was a sea lion, which was pretty cool. So these actually grow to be way bigger than the ones in like California, where they're like 200 or 300 or 400 pounds. These can grow to be about 2,000 pounds. So that was interesting. We also saw 2 bear cubs wrestling on the side of the road as we were on our way. Like it was no big deal. Just 2 bear cubs wrestling, black bear. So that was fun. We saw so many bald eagles. And I'll tell you, interesting thing that happened as soon as we arrived in Juneau is I go out on the balcony. I'm talking to my boy on the phone. I hang up. I plug in my phone. I turn around, and there's a bald eagle. I'm on the 12th floor. There's a bald eagle 20 feet away from me, off my balcony, flying toward me, looking right at me, looked me right in the face, and then flew up in the air. And this lady in the balcony, a couple cabins down, freaked out. Oh my God, did you see that? It was unbelievable. That was like, his eyes met my eyes, and it was like, is he gonna attack you, or what's gonna happen? And he ended up just kind of staring for a second and then flying away. But you got to see it so up close and in detail. It was kind of interesting. So that was really about it. On the way back, we stopped at a couple shops, which, just like everywhere you go with Norwegian, a lot of the shops are owned by them. So the shuttle that takes you, quote, downtown is owned by them, and a lot of the shops are owned by them. And you see a lot of the same things that are sold on the boat also sold there for exactly the same price. In fact, they have their own jeweler called Effie, and it's an exclusive jeweler just for them. And what do you know? This town happens to have the exact same jeweler. So, and they gave you coupons to places when you got off the boat, and they happen to all be owned by the casino or by the boat. So, let me think, what else here? My wife's friend is actually on another boat that is doing the exact same trip that we're doing, but they're about 1 day ahead of us, and they were actually docked at this port when we were there. So we were there at the same time, but we couldn't get a hold of her, and so they're always going to be just ahead of us on everything. We won't get to see each other, which is really kind of weird. We're going to be hundreds of feet away from each other for a week and not be able to see each other. Let me think. One other thing I wanted to mention was earlier when I was playing blackjack, I had that big hand. I was messing around, I had some bad variants going, some low counts going, and I had the whole act going about how frustrated I was and all that. And I said to the pit boss, "Do you see this? Do you see what's happening? Every hand he somehow gets a 3-card 21." Then he's like, "Yeah." And I said, what would you think about that if you were a player?" And he looked me right in the face, and he paused, and he said, "I would think that it was rigged." And I was like, oh, mic drop right there. It's like, what does this guy know? So I'm half considering not releasing this episode right away, because I'm going to be on the boat with this guy for another 3 or 4 more days or 5 days or whatever. And does he know? I don't know. So anyway, that's what's going on right now. We're moving on to another city. It's about 50 miles north of Juneau, and we're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to take a train ride tomorrow. It's going to be a 7-hour trip. So we get off the boat about 9 o'clock. We start this thing about 9:45. We'll be gone all day, and as soon as it's over, we get back on the boat, and it's time to leave for the next port. So all day today it was about 65 degrees. It was beautiful. On the water it was probably in the mid-50s, temperature-wise, air temperature-wise. So that was okay with me. I was very comfortable. They had food, they had drinks on the boat. They had like snacks and drinks on the boat, things like that. I had a Alaskan beer, the first drink I've had on this trip, which, as you already know, I don't drink normally. So that was the first thing that I've had alcohol-wise on the trip. So really, that's everything that's going on. I'm half considering ending it here and going on to another episode, but I'm not positive. So we'll see. It may end abruptly. But for now, I'm going to let you go, and I'll be back to update you when I have more information for you. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this episode. We're going to move on. I'm going to start another episode and pick up from here. If you have any questions or comments, the email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.